Good morning, Sue. Waiting for Princess Leia, aka Kirsten. Yes, this is being recorded. It's been pinned already, Sue.
I know, but you didn't make it big.
Oh. Good morning, everybody. You're tuning into the pregame. We'll give you a little pregame show. Pregame show, just me talking with my arms crossed. That's basically it. That's all I got for you today. We're gonna get started on Sunday Fun Day, yoga, Koga. And to get it all underway, there's Sue already warming up. She's got her arms in the air. Woo! Love it. All right. For the rest of us people, including people that are just putzing around, and I don't know what they're doing right now, we're getting it all started. We're going to come to the center of our mat. We're going to bring our feet out to the side. We're going to take our heels and place them on the edges of the mat, and we're going to turn our toes inward so they're lining up or aiming in an event at the center line of our mat. There's Anne joining in. Good morning to you. There we go.
Here's Kirsten.
And there's Princess Kirsten. All right. We're going to bring some straightness to the legs. And when we bring the legs nice and straight, I'm going to ask you to kind of chopstick them together. Try to pull them in towards the center line. From there, we're going to start building up the spinal column. So I want you to hollow out the tummy. And as you do so, I want you to try to imagine each and every vertebrae of the spine is finding length, distance from the ground. Pull your shoulders up to the ears. Open the palms to face forward, and then spiral the thumbs all the way backwards. Keep the elbows almost locked out as you drift backwards with the thumbs. So with no bend in the elbow, we're going to continue up the rest of the spinal column, basically the neck. I think you can imagine it's a string on the back of the head, pulling it high to the sky. As you inhale, I want you to try to find some extra length from the ground. We're all familiar, hopefully, with how a ratchet works. You check it one notch up, and then it doesn't return back to what it was previously. Same kind of exercise now. I want you to kind of ratchet up the spine. Just grow a little taller. It's fractional, maybe just nothing at all felt, but just try to get that little bit of extra distance, a little bit more of decompression. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let's serve the arms forward, bring them up, palms facing the sky. Nice. Now, let's flip the palms to face forward. Globe the fingers, bring the tips together. As you push the tips together, I'd like you to rotate the elbows down. And as you continue to chopstick, because we haven't forgotten to do that, right? As we continue to do that, I'd like you to put a bend in the knees and let the body descend ever so slightly. And then I push it back up. Now, between the high and low points, chopstick as we come down, and push the heels outwards as we rise up. And just oscillate between the high and low, inward and outward, thrust through the legs, coming down and coming up slowly. So there's tension to all of the muscles as we lower and as we raise. Come down, hold down this time, raise the arms up as high as they will go. Mine just go just above eye level, that's fine. And then take a big breath in, and as you stand tall, reach for the sky, let the hands separate. As you exhale, let the upper body fold down, step the toes to face forward in our nice, relaxed, folded position. I'd like you to let the head just kind of fall off the body. Now that falling off the body is actually decompression in that cervical or neck, cervical spine or neck. Excuse me. As you inhale now, I want you to extend through the upper back. So we're kind of lengthening it out and then folding down. And now we're going to integrate two things. That falling head, the one that's falling off the body, I'd like you to use that imaginary string and pull it long and keep it pulling long as we bring the extension back into the middle part of the back. So this is really what we call looking up, but it's not really looking up. It's just kind of tabletopping the back of sorts. We still would see a glass literally slide off our back. We put it on one end, but it's just that nice extension. And as we keep the spinal extension, I'd like you to bring as much straightness to the legs. And as we keep the spinal extension, I like you to bend both knees and lower the hips. As we bend, there's an opportunity for knees to push forward. But today, I'd like you to pull backwards, kind of like you're practicing for that European train station, if you will. I think everyone that's been in Europe knows exactly what I'm talking about. Now, push the hips high to the sky. That's the legs straightening out. Take a big inhale, extend the spine. Keep that neck and that imaginary string pulling. Drift the hips backwards so you can feel your body weighting mostly into the heel of the foot. And bend both knees and lower down. And then as you push up this time, let the upper body fold into the legs. Just hang out for a couple breaths. Enjoy. Let's take the hand or palm of each hand to opposite elbow. As we make that cross across the arm, I like to rock and roll forward to back slowly. And as we're rocking forward to back, register how the weight bearing in the foot changes backward and forward. And then as we do that little registration, I'd like you to find a balance between the front and back. And when you find it, hold on that spot. The hands return back to the earth, the fingertips are down. As you inhale, extend as the neck pulls. So we're extending spine, pulling that head long, and we're going to drift back and then straighten the legs. And then we're going to take a big inhale and release the fingertips off the floor, but keep the back running parallel to the earth. So it's tabletop now. Take the hands and just sweep them backwards. Lock out through the elbows, spread the fingers wide, and then you have your thumbs aiming at the ground, and the pinky fingers are up at the sky. I'd like you to use the fingers, the pinkies, pull the arms towards the sky. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, unhinge through the hips, coming back up to standing. Hello, everybody. Sweep the arms to the sky. Nice. Now let the blood in the body kind of circulate around and get that nice, stable feeling. Get the perspective of strength back. As you separate the fingers widely, reach higher. Let those shoulders drift up. And then as you exhale, let the shoulders pull down. As you lower arms down, shoulder height. Now, we still have our toes aiming straight forward. We're going to bend both knees and come down into a squat. And then rise up. So as we repeat this motion, see if the range of motion can increase for you. Try to get a little lower in depth. You can't get any taller because we're born with that. That's the genetics. But as we lower down, it's more deepening the bend through the knee that I'm looking to see if you can accomplish. And as we do that, we're actually making some good movement for the body. These hips experiencing more range of motion, as are the knees, as we further the range or the depth of each movement, if it's possible. But just work at it for a couple more. And then when we get down, the next time I'm going to hold down and raise the arms higher. Nice. Pull with the fingers, keep those arms long. Take a big inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale, and then exhale, fold. What's going on over there, baby girl? All right. Now inhale, extend to flat back. Exhale, fold. Walk up, hands now. Step back the feet. As we come into plank pose, I'd like you to let the chest drop in between the arms. And as we keep that nice rotation, I'd like you to take the elbows and spiral them in towards the center of the body. And just before they lock out, I'd like you to back off of that. So just inwardly rotate the elbows and then back off of them slightly. Now, pull the hips up and back. Coming into down dog, doggone it. High on the toes. Heels drive to the earth. Push up on the tippy toes. Heels down. We have the pattern of movement. Do it at your own pace for a few breaths.
Then you can catch yours.
Strategic breathing. Yeah, now I can catch my breath. All right, now keep high in the tippy toes. Come back to plank position. High tippy toe plank. Wow, that's a new one there. Write that one down, folks. All right, so now we keep the high tippy toe plank. And we're going to take the knees and lower them down towards the earth, but we're not going to put them down. No, that's too much ease. We want a little bit of warmth building. So float those knees and then straighten them. Keep the tippy toes. Best you can. Lower the knees. Push back up. That's basically straighten. Keeping the tippy toes. Lower the knees. Hold them down above the earth and drift back the hips. You feel that nice pull in that lower leg? Yeah, you're welcome. There's a good stretch for you. This is all for our ankle mobility. Come back to plank. Ride the heels towards the earth. Pull your booty up and back to down dog. Take the heels now and ride them in a little more. Straighten out through the knees as best you can. And then take a step in. Left and right foot. And then step in. So these couple steps may have helped to facilitate a grounding of the heel. If it didn't, don't worry about it. I don't want you to stress to try to get the heel down. It's just to deepen the release in those lower leg muscles. And if you got that, mission accomplished. Now, take a big breath in again. As you exhale at this time, I'd like you to walk your hands back towards your feet. And register weight bearing, rock back and forward, and get it equal, and then inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, unfold, arms sweep to the sky. Come back up and see your beautiful bright faces. And as you do so, as you release the next breath, as you do that, bring hands over heart. Let's bring the feet so that they're hip width apart. We're going to keep the left foot back. I'm going to step the right foot forward. Separation, just enough to make sure we have balance. And also just enough to make sure we're not over widening the stance today. We want to basically be engaging with core. So I want you to have the balance and the right amount of width. So it's a little bit of challenge to maintain the balance. Not on a tightrope. Anyway, once we've got that, our right foot being forward, I'd like you to take the ball of that right foot and make sure it's connected to the earth. And then similar in the opposite side of the foot, I'd like you to make sure you have a little connection of that toe with the earth. I'm going to bring some straightness to that knee, and then I want you to back off of it just slightly. So just a slight bend. Upper body's nice and long. And we're high in the toes for that back foot. We're going to take the heel of that foot now and drive it down to the earth. And you'll notice right now, when I'm talking about changes, I'm not talking about changing any of the other joints, all but for one. And that joint here is the ankle on the left foot. So we're going to push high in the toes and then drive the heel to the earth. You'll notice that as I make the movements, I'm trying to ask you to do something with your body too, and that's keep tension in the muscles that are making the movement happen. So nice and slow, nice and calculated, feeling the muscle active through the whole range of motion. And on the next one down, I'd like you to hold down and then lean in a little more. So let's check in. If your right cheek has a lot of tension in it and it's burning slightly, perfect. That's what we're trying to get, that muscle. We're going to keep it nice and active as we bring length back to the spine and back to the neck. I'd like you to extend your hands forward. This is going to increase the work in that muscle. Might have heightened some of the discomfort. Keep it as best you can. If you need to take a break, do so. But if you can, stay with this. Now, raise the arms and inhale as we raise. Exhale as we lower and sweep back. As we sweep back, I'd like you to rotate the thumbs backwards. So not an internal rotation, an external rotation of the thumb. So the palms face out, and then they rotate internally as we come forward and bring the hands and arms long up to the sky, and then sweep down, rotate back. And we have some big heat building in that right gluteal. Let's keep it active as we slowly move the arms backward and upward. Let's do this a few more repetitions. Incorporate your breathing in all movements, inhaling up and exhaling backward. Now, come forward with the arms, shoulder height. Take the fingers, globe them, bring them together. Whoops, rotate the elbows, and then rotate towards the right. And come back center. And right, and center. And do that a couple more times. Maintain the balance best you can. When I get off this, I know I feel it too. Now, hands over heart. Take the front foot, power off of it, and step back. I think I know what he's going to do here. Oh my goodness, tricked you. All right, now, opposite side. Stepping forward. Find the balance. Position the ball of the big toe, small toe. Straighten the leg, back off of it slightly. Higher the toes of that back foot. Now, what makes this work more, what makes you work more, is when I talk. And it's not just because of the distraction. And it's not just because I like the sound of my voice.
Really?
But I do.
Really?
We're going to keep nice and long. And we're going to try to work the same thing on the opposite side. We take the right heel and slowly drive it to the earth. Remember, tension in those low leg muscles through the whole range. Heel driving and tippy toes. Lower and raise. All right, internet connection is unstable. Hopefully we don't have the same issue as yesterday. It's almost time to switch from AT&T because,
Okay.
yes, exactly. Keep up, down, up, and down, and hold down this time. We're going to ask you to lean in a little more. While we have this nice lean in, we're going to extend the hands forward. We're going to take a big inhale and raise the arms, and exhale, lower and turn back. Let's get the messages. Inhale, extend. Exhale, lower. Up. Down and back. Remember the spiral in as we raise, and the spiral out, the hands as we pull back. Let's do this a few more times, nice and slow. On the next time forward, hold the arms up, shoulder height. Cup the fingers, bring the tips together. Squeeze and rotate the elbows. Rotate the torso, left and center. Let's do this a few times. Keeping those arms extending, keeping the pressure through the fingertips. Very important. On the next repetition, straight forward, hands come over heart. From the front foot, power back. Ta-da! Hands push to the sky. Inhale, extend. Now, while we keep this extension, a little check-in on that low back. If you feel a little compression forming from this extension, I'd like you to be a little more active with that six-pack muscle. So we probably want to avoid rotation back at the hips. We want to push the hips back and flex through them, as opposed to arch that lower back. So reach high, keep that spine braced with that nice six-pack muscle that I know you've been developing. As you take your next breath, fold halfway forward, let the arms sweep beside the body. Palms are facing the earth to start, and then we're going to register weight bearing, move forward and back, get it equal. Now, use your fingers to pull the arms long, and then use the thumbs to spiral them up towards the sky. So now we have external rotation happening in the shoulder. This is one of these exercises that's good for combating the internal rotation that our body adapts from sitting too long. So now we're going to move those muscles by taking the thumbs, spiraling down all the way internally, and rotating them inside and up towards the sky. Keeping the arms straight, we're going to spiral the opposite way. Kind of like a mixer would work right now. So mix it in, And mix it out. Keep the spine long, keep the neck long. If you're feeling compression in the neck, tell your body to relax there. This is a shoulder exercise. Just using a little bit of weight, gravity is our weight basically. And then on the next rotation up, hold the thumbs towards the sky, stand tall. Push the hands forward, sweep them forward. Palms are facing the sky. Bring the baby fingers together and bring the forearms together. Nice. Now, extend the arms forward. As we pull back with the elbows, I'd like you to trace your rib cage. Pull them back, trace, and pull all the way through as far as you can. Now, while those elbows are back, I'd like you to pull with your belly button into the spine. And I'd like you to grow that spine nice and long. And I'd like you to grow the neck too. Everything's growing. Now, take your elbows, pull them together. And then sweep them out and away from the body. And let the baby fingers kind of just be like a hinge. We're going to keep them on our rib cage. And we're going to use them to kind of guide. So right now, shoulders have rotated internally. We're going to externally rotate them. Just trace on the side of your hand all the way back as the elbows rotate back. Pull back. Rotate forward. And then rotate back.
Are the shoulders going forward?
This is just,
The elbow.
we're just moving the arms. Shoulders are going to follow the arms forward, and the shoulders are going to follow the arms when you go back. That's just triggering the use of these muscles that help us work the external rotators, keeping them nice and active, lengthening them one way, shortening the other. Come forward with the elbows one more time. Hold back, hold back. Push the hands back forward, serve it up the tray. Baby fingers, forearms, all together, extend out. Now, raise the arms. Inhale, exhale, elbows trace, pull it all the way back. Squeeze the elbows, extend out. Make the connections, push the arms forward, and then draw back, trace elbows. And baby fingers, squeeze those elbows, push it back forward, hold it out this time, serve it up, lift it up a little higher, and then flip so hands form over hearts. If we bring those hands back over our heart, let's readjust the feet to the side of the mat. Now, we have toes. We're going to step them back into the center line of the mat. We're going to bring some straightness back to the knees. As we keep those knees straight, I'd like you to bring some chopstick action with the legs. And as we feel those inner thigh muscles nice and active, I'd like you to keep that as we try to draw up through the belly. Now, what we're going to change here slightly is a little nuance, is we're going to take the ball of each big toe and we're going to try to rotate it internally. So from the back of the foot, the heel's chopstick, and we're going to now try to make the front part of the foot rotate internally. So the activations in the slightly different muscles, still in those inner thighs, of course. Now, pull your butt back, chop through the hips. So nothing else is changing but the angle in the hips. Spine is long, legs are not changing, just the hip angle as we lower down to tabletop. And then we're going to rise all the way up. Keep the internal rotation. Keep the internal rotation as the hips pull back, as we fold halfway down, and keep it when we rise all the way back up. And let's do that one more time. And if you have any trembling of those muscles in the inner thighs, perfect. That's what we're going for. All right, now stand tall, step the toes forward, push your hands to the sky, inhale, extend, exhale, fold all the way down, have a seat. I'm going to grab some water. Grab some air.
Cheers.
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 Cheers to you, ladies. And Mark. Cheers to you all.
And Val. Who's
And
doing
Val.
it later.
The ladies, our Val is lady. Anyways, all right, now, without the use of pronouns, we're going to grab our knees, kneecaps. All right, so I've separated the feet, but the width of the mat, just wider than hips, whatever is best for you. And I'm going to use some of the musculature in my arms to help create length for the spinal column. So right now I've kind of rolled back and I'm on my tailbone. What I'm going to use is my shoulders. I'm going to pull them backwards. I'm going to use my arms now to pull my chest forward. And as I pull forward, I'm going to lengthen the whole spinal column. Right from the base, middle, all the way up to the head. Just imagine a string pulling that whole vertebral column nice and long. Hold on this. Keep the spinal elongation, those process of muscles, working as you release the right hand off the right knee. You should feel the right side muscles, in particular the right hip flexor, activate a little more. Switch sides. Nice. Now, alternate left to right. Focus on not necessarily what's happening in the hips. Focus on the length through the spinal column, keeping those spinal extensors actively working to create length and decompression in the spinal column. Now, bring both hands back to the kneecap. Make the next level effort. Imagine the string pulling the head, keeping the spinal column long, and let both hands release simultaneously. Extend the arms forward, and then raise the arms to the sky, and then lower them down. As we lower, I like you to pull the shoulders backwards. So shoulders pull backwards as we raise up, proud the chest. Shoulders pull backward as the arms lower, keep the chest proud. Inhale, raise. Exhale, lower. So we're isometrically working those hip flexors. Yeah, they're burning, I know. So we got a lot of load going into those muscles. Now, we're going to hold up the arms, and now we're going to C-curve the spine and release some of the tension in those muscles by lengthening them out as we come all the way down to a laying down position. Hands still reaching up at the sky. Now, feet, I'd like you to step them forward to the point where there's an obtuse angle. So this is funny. The irony is here. Most women would say that men are obtuse, but really I want you women to be obtuse today with the angle in your knee. I know. It's Sunday. It's not my best day for humor, but work with me. So with that nice obtuse angle in the knee, I'd like you to take your toes and rotate them in towards each other. Now, if your feet are situated wider than they normally are for this exercise, fine. They don't need to touch right now. We're just practicing some internal and external rotation. You're going to do this exercise correctly. Actually, this is not an incorrect portion. It's just a different exercise. So we're going to roll over the heels and open. So we have a bend in the knees. So we're going to open the feet so they turn away from the midline. And then we're going to roll over the heels to rotate the thighs and the feet to face each other. And then we're going to do that a few more times, nice and slow. Now, as you do this, I like you to push your heels into the earth. So we're really kind of hinging in there through the hip socket and through the heel. And we're using our knee as a bridge of the two muscles over the lower leg and upper leg. But this is really an internal and external exercise, rotation of the leg itself. So we're applying the workload. If you can push harder and rotate, please do so. All right, so on this next repetition, aim the toes straight up to the sky, step your heels or feet in so that they're about hip width apart. Keep that obtuse angle. And, just for argument's sake, let's just step the feet forward just a little more. So if your legs straighten out completely, just back off of what I just said. But as much of an obtuse angle as you can make in the knee, get that for yourself. Rotate the thighs into touch. The big toe should be able to touch now. When they do, I like you to flex the feet. So we have that nice activation in the shin. Now, when we have that, I want you to keep it, and we're adding on. So we're going to take the thighs and squeeze them together, keeping those feet flexed. I like you to take your
belly button and try to pull it in and up. Pull it into the spine and up and into the rib cage. Now, while you do that, let's lower the arms. Turn the palms to face the earth, cup the fingers, and bring them down onto your ground. Let's take the chest and make it nice and proud. If you felt the low back or any part of the back lift off the floor, I'd like you to try to take the middle part of the back now and bring it down to the floor if it popped up. Low back's fine, wherever it is. Now, with the fingertips push into the earth, I'd like you to take your elbows and spiral them so that they face down into the earth. And then make sure your neck is not compressing. Our body, when it experiences new movement patterns, likes to go to old habits of protection, which is basically compressing. And we don't want to do that. So I want you to keep the neck relaxed. We have a lot of muscle in play right now. In particular, if your inner thighs are starting to vibrate, that's great. I want you to use those muscles hard as you can. And then let's release this. Much like we practiced earlier, I like you to open up the feet, open up the legs, and then rotate them back in. I was going to say rotate, so I got stuck on R. It almost sounded like I was Scottish. Roll them out. All right, now, once again, toes touching, feet flex, thighs squeeze together, fingertips push into the earth, spiral those elbows into the ground, make that chest nice and proud, make sure the middle part of that back is primed as best you can to make a connection with the mat. And now you're going to push the heels into the earth and try to elevate the hips, push everything, push off the earth, keep the tension free in that neck of yours, please. Just a reminder, and then lower down, and then take your arms, sweep them all the way back. Point your toes forward. Pull with your toes in one direction and your fingertips in the opposite. And let it all lengthen out. Nice. Now let's step the feet back in as you bring your arms down beside your body. Position the heel of the foot just slightly forward of the knee. So the feet are flat and you're a little wider than hip width apart with the feet in itself. Now, let's take the pelvis, and I'd like you to try to roll up on the tailbone. So you should feel the lower back pull up off the earth. And then I'd like you to try to reverse that by rolling on the tailbone and rotating the pelvic girdle, basically from the pubis area, rotating up to the sky. And I'd like you to hold on that. And then I'd like you to feel what muscles are enabling you to do that. And it should be right around the groin, and in particular, maybe on the hips, the hammies, where they connect with your gluteals, right in that region. Now, I like you to reverse this. As you imprint each vertebrae of that tailbone of yours, I'd like you to do it nice and slow, and kind of rock that pelvic girdle forward so you feel now more weight on your tailbone. So use the registration of weight on the skin on that backside of your body as we reverse this, imprint vertebrae by vertebrae, tailbone into the lower back, get that low back skin connected to the earth, pubis rotating up to the sky, and then oscillate between the two, rotating externally and internally. What we're really doing here is just moving these small little joints, actually the big joints, because of the foundation of our spine. But we're just moving them, articulating them ever so slightly, which means that the muscles that interact with those joints are now being worked. It doesn't seem like it's a significant exercise, but this is a very important one. Just for that spinal stabilization of the low back. Now, I'd like you to hold the skin of that low back down, which basically means the pubis is pulling to the sky. And then I'd like you to take your hands and reach them straight up above. You're right above your chest. Let's take your shoulders and draw them into the mat. So this is a different way of crowding out the chest. So we just pin the shoulders backwards, keeping those arms extending up. We're going to extend them all the way back. I have a wall in the way, so I can't go all the way back with them straight, so I'm just going to bend my elbows, but please use your arms straight. So we have that nice pull through our chest. So we have a bunch of muscles there that help stabilize the rib cage and also some strong muscles of the back. People will know those immediately when I say lats. So we're lengthening the lats out and also some muscle in the front part of the body. So we're just going to hold this stretch. We're going to pull the arms longer, farther away. It's like someone's grabbed your hands and, you know, they do that when they pull your arm longer. Well, you get to pull your own arm.
Lucky it's done.
How lucky is that? I'll pull your leg, you pull your arms. Now come back with your hands over the chest. Oh, I think I landed with that joke. Yeah. Now, shoulders pull back into the mat, reach back. And then imagine the arms pulling back. If I placed $1 million prize, if you can touch this, I'd like you to try to reach back and get it. Now, again, this is not a stress out the neck trying to reach for the $1 million. Just use the musculature, allow the musculature that's pulling and shortening the length that your arms can go. Allow that muscle, or muscles actually, to just lengthen out just a little more. All right, come back with the hands. Straighten out the legs, put them down onto the earth. Pilates style, we arise off the mats. Let's drop the chin and peel vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up. And then dive the fingers down and extend all the way up. Enjoy that. Nice pull with the hammies. Now, one way to intensify the stretch here is to take your feet and flex them and take your heels and try to push them away from the body. And you feel the tension through some other areas of those lower legs. That's just the muscles experiencing a new length. Let the upper body fall a little more. Sometimes we can help with this, and sometimes a little help is not needed. But if you want to, and just play around with it, you can wrap your hands around the heel of the feet and then use the arms to help pull into the stretch just a little more. But don't overdo it. I mean, we're just really trying to find a little bit of extra length without creating a risk of higher injury or a higher risk of injury. So we just want to have that nice, long, relaxed pull. On your next breath, inhale, extend. Come into staff pose. Let's take the right leg, bend it, and then if you can, like it, bring it into the body so that the foot and thigh are able to make a connection. And if you're able, I'd like you to try to step the foot up and onto the thigh. So the outside of the right foot is on top of the left thigh. So we have the right leg kind of elevated. Good.
It's my good side.
That's your good side. That's my good side. Kirsten's looking over. Don't do my bad side. Just do my good side. All right. Now we're just going to hold in this for a couple of seconds. And as we do this, I'd like you to take your right foot and flex it. And then I'd like you to take your right knee and try to rotate it down. So this is not a use any force. I just want to use the external rotators of the right leg only to try to rotate that knee towards the earth. And then I'd like you to use the side of the foot like a hinge and then raise the knee up and then lower back down. And it's all the muscles of the leg doing the work. We're not using any hands. Hands-free zone, up and down, and up and down. And when we got it down, we're going to extend out the right leg, bring the left leg in to start. This is a starting point. You could just stay here if the next step isn't accessible for your body today. And if you can, I'd like you to bring it up onto the thigh. We now have a little bit of elevation in the leg, and now we're going to play with it a little bit. We're going to rotate the knee down and rotate the knee up. And just continue on this for a few repetitions. I know, hardly seems like an exercise, but wow, what great benefit will you have. All right, and the next one down, extend the leg all the way out. Let's take the hands, walk them forward as we come into this folded yet seated position. I'd like you to walk forward the hands a little more and walk them forward a little more. And then just a little more if you can. Flex the toes, flex the feet, sorry. Drive the heels. Feel that nice pull on the back of the leg. As you inhale, extend to a flat back, walk the hands back in, keep the spine keeping into extension, lean slightly backwards, step the feet in. Let's assist our body's work with grabbing onto the kneecaps with the palms of the hands. Let's take the elbows and pull them backwards. So I like to bring them away from the body and then pull the elbows backwards as we push forward with the chest. Make your neck nice and long. Then float the feet so we're going to come up onto the sit bones. Now, if your low back is feeling a lot of pain, especially the tailbone, if it feels higher pressurized, like you move forward or rock forward slightly, but try to keep the feet elevated. And then I'd like you to rock and roll slightly forward and back. And then hold where you've got the best control. Crowd out the chest. Let the hands release off the kneecap and then extend the legs straight out. Extend the arms. Lower the legs. Raise the legs. Lower. Raise. Lower. Raise. One time more down. One more time up. Pull the knees up and into the chest. And then slowly lower your body down onto the mat. Extend the legs high up into the sky. Separate the feet hip width apart. Flex the foot. Push the heels high. As you push the heels high, if you feel that low back push in too intensely for your body, back off some of that push. We just want that nice connection of the low back, skin in the game. I'd like you to bring your hands out to the side of your head and open up the elbows. See if you can get the upper arms or the back of the upper arms onto your mat. So you kind of got fingers or the tops of your fingers on the sides of your face or sides of your temple, and your elbows open wide. Nice. Now, drop your chin into your chest, keep the elbows wide, and then kind of crunch up ever so slightly, and then roll back down. Slowly come back up and lower back down. Keep those heels driving high to the sky. Back off if it's creating too much pressure in that low back. Feeling up vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly reuniting the vertebrae with your mat. Slowly do it a couple more repetitions. You should feel a nice burn in that six-pack muscle if you're doing this. The right intensity, right activation. Hold it down. Let the legs lower down. Extend them all the way out. Extend the hands all the way back. Opposites, pulling fingers and toes. Lengthen out that whole body. Nice. Now, let the arms come back down into the side of the body. Step your left foot in. Plant it on the earth. Take your right leg and wrap it over the left. And then take your right leg and pull the left towards the earth. The left hip is going to pull up off the earth. As we rotate the left knee towards the earth, I'd like you to float it just above the earth as you reach your left hand to the sky, and then use the straight elbowed arm to pull straight back. Feel that nice side body lengthening. The arm of a clock. I'd like you to sweep the arm all the way out backwards, sideways, and then back down to the hip. And when it arrives there, roll back onto your backside and switch up the legs. And as we begin on the opposite side, pull towards the earth,
Extend the right arm to the sky. Pull it all the way backwards. Take a couple of breaths, enjoy that nice lateral or side body lengthening. And then dial the arm slowly. And when it hits the hip, roll back onto the backside. Extend the legs all the way out. Let the arms just kind of relax. We're going to just take a couple breaths to finish off the class. The exercises I like to do are the ones that counteract a lot of our aging process. And all problem when we age, I mean, that's just from the moment we're born, is we're constantly battling gravity, and then we start our lives. So we develop as humans inward rotation, which is problematic for our spines and hips. And this is why we exercise the way we exercise. What we do is to help strengthen stabilization of the spine, movement of the hips. Take a big breath in. Roll your head from side to side as you exhale that air slowly. Breathe in again, exhale from side to side. And then bring that to a calming. Bring your hands over hearts. And then Pilates style, come all the way back up. Oh my goodness, more challenging. When you arrive in your seated position with hands over heart, let me look at you and say, thank you for showing up today. I hope you had a great class, and thanks for joining me. Namaste.
Namaste. High five.
Namaste. And I gotta go.
Hello.